welcome to the Workshop of Death. Today, we're going to be showing you how to build a forge for literally nothing. As you can see here in New York, we're experiencing a weird spring full of purple clouds. This is my old forge. As you can see, it's a pit in the ground lined with flat stones. There's a pipe right there, steel pipe where the air comes in, that fills with coal, and you've got your fire. Well, though, it's air fed through this beer can, this 25-ounce beer can that I fed into the ground, and there's a pipe going into it way down there. Why I did that is for the blow dryer. It holsters perfectly in the can. And doesn't have to be taped to anything. It does not overheat this way, and if there's any blockage, it immediately blows itself out of the hole, letting me know that there's something wrong over here. Now I gotta tear this whole thing out, fill it back in, so I can build a new forge out of the parts. Well, here it is. The Workshop of Death state-of-the-art, high-tech air delivery system. Okay, I got these concrete blocks, this table, this piece of sheet metal, this piece of sheet metal. Okay, so this is what I have. Let's see, it's just concrete blocks stacked in a strategic pattern. With this metal thing over it to hold in heat. That's optional. Little space here for smoke to get out so it's not bellowing into your face. Strategically by the window here, so there'll be a fan in it since I don't have a hood. But we don't really need a hood in here because there is no garage door. That's the main problem of my workshop. Because there's no door, I can't leave my tools here. I literally have to hoist up my anvil, all my chisels, my tongs, my hammers, and bring them in the house and lock them up. Because people around here will steal yours. I've got the pipe coming into the center almost. Because there's going to be a reservoir right here that's long. And it's going to be filled up with the clay. It's not going to set up. There's not going to be hot coal setting on this thin piece of tin. This is going to be filled with the clay from the ground with a reservoir. So when the air comes out, it hits and it goes that way and this way. And it evenly feeds oxygen to the coals. Workshop of Death, on my end, is working on a zero budget. So there's no money. There's literally... yeah, starting from scratch. Alright, here we have regular clay from the ground I dug up. It's all dry and ready to be crushed up with this garden hoe or sledgehammer. You beat the hell out of it like this, beat the hell out of it, then you take a bucket and a metal window screen and you sift all of the fine clay through it. So you get rid of all the big chunks, you dump the big chunks back in, and you keep hitting it. Now this process takes hours upon hours. So you better be pretty damn devoted to being a blacksmith if you're going to go through all this. Sifting all the powder into the bucket. And when you're sure you've got every bit of dust and powder out of it and the rocks are like, chunks are too big to fall through the holes, put back in a separate box, dump the box and chunks, put it back in the barrel, start crushing. As you can see, we're getting pretty full. Bucket's almost halfway full of nature's cement. These little pieces of wood are going to serve a purpose. I'll show you. You'll see when it's got clay in it. Now let's begin. Okay, I've got my bucket, I've got my gallon of water, I've got my clay, and I've got some sand. I'm gonna go with a 50-50 mix of sand and clay. You just stir it around with your hands until it becomes this clumped mixture like this. It can be molded and packed. All right, here you go. A solid base of clay and sand. And those two pieces of wood are going to be where the air diffuses. It comes out the pipe and it spreads out through the coal. When I take the wood out, I'm going to put this piece of steel mesh over top of it and cover it with clay, but leave that square open. There, the wood is out, and you see that's where the air comes in, hits that rectangular reservoir, and blows straight up in all different directions through the coals. That's what we want. And here we go. A nice thick wall of clay on either side. It's kind of a rainy day out today, so the moisture in the air will keep this from drying too quickly because it'll crack. Luckily for you guys, you don't have to sit here and watch it dry due to the magic of editing. Okay, she's dry. I added a brick underneath the clay thing so that there won't be no issues with the cable getting too hot, and the blow dryer is hooked up and ready to go. I installed this big ass workbench with a thick board that weighs like 100 pounds, and this is my anvil, the typical railroad track anvil. We're not even going to bolt it down for this because we're just testing the forge. Let's fire this thing up. It's going to heat up really fast. Wow, you can feel that heat coming off. That might work a little bit too well. Of course, this isn't coal. That's Match Light. Kingsford Match Light charcoal. That's all I got to deal with right now. Sorry. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Working forge. We just need actual coal instead of this charcoal nonsense. Nice coal. See that? We got a nice hot nugget glowing in there, even without the wind on. Yep, she's really cooking in there. We should have her up to temperature soon. If this was raw coal, it would have already been yellow by now. Alright, let's pull her out and have a look at it. It looks like it's melting. Yeah. Definitely got it up to temperature. Look at all the shit coming out of it. This is so rusty. Loaded with impurities. It was rusty as hell in the ground. Look at the stuff that came off of that steel from just whacking it 2 or 3 times with the hammer. So much crap coming out of this. Well, there it is. This must be a chisel and not a railroad spike, because it doesn't even move when you hit it. You could see where the rust is eaten like clean through it, and I'm slowly turning it back into just steel by getting all the impurities out. As you can see here, now that the coals have died down, this forge produces a long strip of hot coals instead of just one concentrated area. It's a long concentrated strip so that you could stick long things in and get better heats out of a longer surface area. You got that perfect burning line of coal that will heat like something like a short sword or a sword, for that matter. If you take the back off, you can run a piece all the way through. This is exactly what I wanted it to do. It's what it's designed for, to heat a long piece of stuff. Concentrate the heat over a long area instead of one solid mass in the center of your forge, which seems to be the Western style of doing things. Alrighty, I took the remaining coals out, let them cool down, and look at what I found. 1, 2, 3, 4 clinkers from heating this thing twice. And here we are. That one crack was there before I even started. I can fill that in with clay, it's no big deal. But it doesn't seem to have even melted or even overheated that metal screen at all. And all it is like really light chicken wire. This shit gets very, very hard. It's like a rock. There you go. Clay from the ground and old cinder blocks I found laying around. Hooked to a blow dryer and a pipe and radiator hose. If you want to mill any cheaper than that, you've either got to steal or you've got to kill an animal and use its skin to make a bellows. Pile a bunch of rocks, make a clay bowl, have a bellows made of like deer skin and just sit there like this while another guy heats and maintains the coal. You got like a team. Yeah. That's what you're looking at. If you like what you saw, subscribe, like, leave a comment. We got a really big surprise coming up next episode. So stay tuned to Workshop of Death.